onto the other side of the worksheet. Each song streamed, which we're labeling as X, just like in our 2-column tables that we've been using, uses 4 megabytes of data. The total data Y used, used depends on the number of songs streamed. And let me just note here, I think I'd actually meant to have this down here. So everything I said before about variable flow is true, but in this case, I think you all know that there are some long songs and there are some short songs. But if we're talking about the course of a month and you're streaming 1,000 songs, then it's useful to think about what is probably an average and think about that as a proportional relationship. But in reality, you'll have some that are 3 and 9/10. You'll have some in 4 and 1/10. You'll have some that are 4 exactly. And you'll have some really, really long songs that, might be 15. Okay. But at any rate, each song streamed uses 4 megabytes of data. Total data used depends on the number of songs streamed. First thing I actually want you to do is see if you can fill out this unit rate column. Okay, and it's labeled such that hopefully you can do that. Can you see within the description of the situation, what is the unit rate? I'll give you a moment. Please pause it while you're doing that. Okay, I'm assuming you're back. So our unit rate is, and let me just write this, data in megabytes per one song. Our unit rate is for one unit, one song. And we see in our description that we've got each song. So one song uses 4 megabytes. So we've got 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes. And I guess since I don't have my units in the rest of this, I'm going to scratch that so it's not as complicated. 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes, even when I don't know the number of songs, right? So for this one, I don't know the number of songs yet, but I do still know that we're using the number 4 to represent the number of megabytes of data per song. Okay, so now what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and fill out the second column, total data use in megabytes, based upon the first 2 columns. And I will wait. Please pause it. And you're back. Sweet. So we know that if one song is 4 megabytes, I'm going to start on one song, this one right here. It's 4 megabytes for one song, so 4 megabytes. If we didn't download any songs in a month, how much data would we use? Think about that one for a moment. How much data if you drop your phone and it breaks, or your parents take it away? So 0 songs, it's going to be 0 data. 2 songs, so we can think of that as one song and one song, got 8 megabytes. 10 songs, we could think of that as 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So each one of those is 4 megabytes, 40 megabytes. And likewise, 100 megabytes, or 100 songs at 4 megabytes each, is going to be 400 megabytes. And we've done this before, and I think you can probably see the pattern. Go ahead and write all the multiplication equations that you can. Pause it while you're doing that. Okay, assuming you're back, or you're just writing the answers down as I do them. Either way, you're here. So I'm just going to do this twice to highlight what it is that we did before. I'm multiplying my unit rate times the number of songs to get the total data. Unit rate, data per song, times the number of songs equals the total data use. Data per song times number of songs equals total data use. Data per song times the number of songs equals total data use. Data per song times the number of songs equals total data use. I know that probably sounds really annoying to hear me say that over and over again, but if you say that to yourself while you're looking at this situation, or if your preferred method of examining a proportional relationship is to make a table, then if you do that and you look at this, my unit rate times my number of songs is the total data use, and you have taken care to label your table to show what each of those quantities mean, then you can pretty much just read across my unit rate times my number of songs is equal to the total data use. Unit rate times the number of songs is my total data use. And then we can just go ahead and write that equation. My unit rate times my number of songs is equal to my total data use. And let's go ahead and rewrite these. 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. I know you already wrote these, so sorry for all of this extra time. You can always fast forward a bit if it's too easy. And then we get to 4x is equal to y. And the way you'll usually see this written is y equals 4x. And this 4, I probably should have mentioned this earlier. See this 4? That's the same as our unit rate. So we can generalize this as y is equal to kx, where this k, let me change that color, that k, that number before here, that is our constant of proportionality, our unit rate. That will be the same every time. And why don't we just go ahead and look back up now that I've said that. So our unit rate here is the same as the number in front of x. Kx equals y. Y is equal to k, our constant of proportionality, times x. And back up to the first one, our unit rate, our constant of proportionality was 2, and 2 is the number right in front of x. So keep in mind, though, that that is for a unit. So if our situation had been instead that 3 songs use 12 megabytes of data, if we hadn't been given a unit rate, the rate for 1 song, But for 3 songs, we can't just say y is equal to 12x, because this is not our unit rate. That is our rate for 3. Our unit rate is our rate for 1, which is 4 megabytes, 4x. And you may be able to just tackle that last